using Google Drive and Google Docs. For some of you who've used these tools for a long time, this is going to be a lot of review. But for those of you who have been using Word at school on a PC, a desktop, this will be a good overview for you to be able to create and use and share documents more easily with students and parents during school closure. So just a brief overview. When you log into your Google Drive, you will see all of your Google Drive files in the Google Drive. Now mine are in a list. You could also see them as tiles. So this little button up here changes them to look like that, where yours might look more like this. Either way, it's the same thing. All of your information is in here. Now I have a bunch of mine organized into folders. If you want to do that yourself, you can go click on New here, click on Folder, and then you can create new folders. You can also change the color of your folders. You'll notice I have one I access a lot colored as red. So to do that, you would right click over that and you'll see change color here, and you can color code all of your files. You can also rename them. You can nest files into each other, and then there's a bunch of other features that are listed here. But today's video, I'm just going to talk about Google Docs because many of you will be using that or have been using it so that you can give parents access to something that you want them to know about, such as an agenda or a list of assignments or assignment dates, links to important information, and that sort of thing. You can take any Word document and upload it into your Google Drive. If you look over here, you'll see I have a few that were uploaded as Word documents. So how you upload is you go here, File Upload, you select the file from your list, and then you hit Open. It will be different. I have an Apple, so it may look a little different than this, but you hit Open and then it will start to upload to your Google Drive. So when you do have one like this, it's going to open a little bit differently than a Google Doc. These with the little lines, they're the ones that are Google Docs. The ones with the W's are the ones that are still Word documents. So when I open this, you're going to see it like this rather than like this as a regular document. So in order for this to become editable again, what I would need to do is click up here and click on Google Docs, and now it's going to convert it into a Google document that I can then adjust, edit, change. So in order to create a new document from scratch, you're going to click on New and click on Google Docs. These three that are listed here are the ones that you use most frequently. So if Google Docs is not here for you, then go ahead and click on More, and you'll see all of these other options. So if you use Google Forms a lot, Google will recognize that and will start to include it in your options here. But usually for most people, Google Docs is the most common, and so that's what comes first. So you can click on blank template or blank document or from a template. From a template gives you kind of like when you open Word for the first time and they ask you if you want to create like a certain kind of form letter or something. So they give you those options. That's what that is. But most of the time we just want to create a blank document. So once your document is open, you're going to want to name it. And what you'll find is that it is located actually just in your Google Drive when you create one by clicking on this button. So I'm here in my Google Drive, and if I scroll down to the S's, I just named this sample document. It is going to be right here. So you'll see that the document that you created is going to just jump into your Google Drive. Now you can see that if you work in Google Drive a lot, you see how many files I have? It is a lot. So creating those folders becomes really helpful. So once you have your document created, you can move it immediately. You could be in here in Google Drive and take the file and then just drag it to a folder. But instead of doing that, you can also go up here to the top and you'll see that there's a little move file folder. So I could click on that and then I could, it starts showing me my tree of my drive. And so I could move it into one of these files specifically to put it in there. Or I could create a new folder and drop it in that new folder. So once I've included all of my information in here, now I have the opportunity to share this information with someone else. So I've opened up another document to show you what to do when you want to share this with others. So now that I have my document created and I have it in the folder that I want it to be in by clicking on the little folder up here, now I'm going to share it. So every time you create a new document in your Google Drive, you will see when you hover over this share, I haven't clicked on it, I'm just hovering over it. It tells you what your sharing settings are. And so my document is private only to me. So if I copied this address and shared it with parents on on Parent Square, or with my students on Google Classroom, it wouldn't be shared with them. They wouldn't be able to open it. They would get one of those "you do not have permission to view this file" messages. So I need to make sure that it's set up so that anyone I want to be able to see it can see it. So I'm going to show you what those share options are. So when you click on the share button, you'll see that you can put in specific names or email addresses. Most of the time I ignore this because I want to set sharing settings that will work for every time I'm going to use this document in the future. But if you have something you're working on with a team or with a specific student, then you could type their name in here. For the most part, it will access any of your contacts from your Google Mail. So if I have a friend who works in another district, their name might come up, but most of the time if I just start typing a name, you'll see that it comes up with all of the different people in our domain under hilmar.k12. But I also know someone at UC Merced, and so that person's name is listed here in MCOE, and then other people that I've had email contact with. Now over here to the right, this is the permissions you're giving to that person you're sharing the file with. So if I put a person's name in here and I leave this pencil, that means they can edit, change, delete, or do anything else to the document, the same permissions I have as the creator. If I only want that person to comment on the document, to make suggestions or something like that, then I click here. If I only want them to be able to view it, they can't change anything, they can't comment on anything, then I would click on Can View. Most of the time when you're sharing it with someone like students or parents, you're going to want the Can View set up. But if you're not typing a name in here, you don't need to worry about this. Instead, you're going to click on Advanced. And you're going to click here on Change. And now we have our options. If you have a personal Gmail account, you won't have these same choices because you'll notice this specifically mentions our school district. So if you are a private user of Google Drive, you'll only find these three: public on the web, anyone with a link, or specific people. But because we work in we use Google App Suites for Education, we have these other options because that's our domain, our organization. So let me explain what each one of these means. If you click on public on the web, that means that this file now can be searched and found by anyone, anywhere on the internet. So there are lots of different ways to search for things, but they wouldn't necessarily have to search for the name of the file. They could search for anything inside the file and still be able to find it. The second one, anyone with the link, means that if you send the address to this, so you copy the address of the document and you send it to other people, they don't have to sign in at all to get to it, but they have to have the link to get to it. So you could post it on your Google Classroom, you could post it in an email or a Parent Square, or you can even post it on your Facebook page, and anybody could get into it. They don't have to be a Hilmar user, they don't have to be someone who has to sign in to get to it or have permission to use it. Anybody anywhere can get into it as long as they have the link. So this third option is a little bit more restricted. This one means that you have to be within Hilmar Unified School District to be able to find it, and you have to be within Hilmar Unified School District to access it. So what this means is that if you have this set up, then anybody in their Google Drive can search and find your file. So if you want to make sure that your files are not searchable, then you need to make sure that you have a little bit more limited access to them. This one, on anyone at Hilmar Unified School District with the link, this is similar to this one, it's just more restricted because this one, anybody who has the link can get in there. This one, anyone who is in Hilmar and has the link can get there. This is usually the one that I choose for students because I want them to be logged in through their school account to be able to get to this. I have created this restriction before and have students send me emails from their personal email saying I can't get into the file, and I have to email back and say you need to log in with your school credentials and then you can get to it. I won't let you get into it from your personal. That's because I want to keep my curriculum only going through school channels instead of personal ones. And then here, off specific people is the one that we talked about earlier. So with any of these four, you can also adjust who can view it and comment and who can edit. So can view is the default, but you can also give anyone public on the web ability to edit your document. That's probably not something I would recommend doing, but it is possible. Can comment means that anybody could comment. So let's say you're creating a document that everybody in the district should have input on. You could give everyone in the district the ability to comment on it with this setting and then send the link out in an email. They wouldn't be able to search their Google Drive and find it, but they could click on the link that you had given them in the email and head to this document to make the changes or make comments that you wanted them to add to the document. So these are all of the options we have for link sharing in Google Docs. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit save on this and show you one more feature. When you come back to this screen, you will see everyone who has access to this document. Now sometimes, even if people are no longer in our domain, you will find their names down here. So if it's something you shared with someone a really long time ago and that person has left, they'll still have permission. But they have to have access through their school account. So if they no longer have access to that, they no longer have access to this. So let's say you have added someone to your Google document and you want to take them off. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, so I've opened a different document and this one was shared with a teacher who no longer works in our district. So if I would like to remove that access to that person, then I would go over here to the right, there's a little X, and I would go ahead and click on that. This little thing here means a set expiration, so that would be really nice if you want someone to have access to it just for a specific amount of time. So you can click on that and you can say your access expires within a certain number of days. You can also cancel that expiration. You have a few other options down here under owner settings. You can prevent editors from changing access and adding new people, which can be very helpful for student-driven documents that you want to retain control over. And then disable options to download, print, and copy for commenters and viewers. So this would mean that anyone who could open the file couldn't download it, they couldn't print it, and they can't copy it so that other people can see it. So that can be really helpful too if you're trying to maintain security of your documents. They can still take screenshots, so it is not completely safe. However, this does make it more difficult for someone to copy a document like whole cloth to be able to use. So when you're ready to share the link, you can do this in a couple of ways. There is always this up here. You can copy this and paste it wherever you'd like to go to with it. So right click, copy, and then paste. You can also get there just by copying the address up here. Even though it says edit here on the end, it will still be accessible for whoever it is that you give the link to, even if they don't have editing rights. And I covered this in a video earlier this year, but there's also, you can see who's viewed your document. You can see how many people have viewed it over time. You can see viewer trends. You can see comment trends. You can see sharing history, privacy settings, similar to what we were just looking at. So there are a lot of other options that are in here for you to be able to maintain security and control over your documents. So those are the basics of how to use Google Docs to upload Word documents, create new documents, and then share those documents. Thanks for watching.